Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Surfer Joe with another gear video. I know you like gear videos, so let's do another one this morning. And today we're gonna put this one into this. So I'm gonna tell you about these speakers. I'm gonna show you how they sound, why I'm changing it, trying to achieve more, putting this one in my tone ring cabinet, and you'll find out. Give me a second. So we start with what I have inside here in my 1963 tone ring cabinet. For the ones of you who don't know what a tone ring cabinet is a special design cabinet that has a double baffle that allow to install a ring that is literally around the speaker. Here it is, that works as a sort of a reflex all around the speaker. This was intended to increase the projection of the bass frequencies, especially since in 1962-63 there weren't really bass speakers. So one of the top hi-fi speakers was the JBL D130 and D140F, and other speakers, of course, 15 inches, but there was nothing that was holding the bass frequencies so well. And in a live situation, of course, the projection of the bass was needed. Not only the projection of the bass, but the distance of the projection, so how far those bass frequencies could go. So the tone ring is a system that Fender invented to allow this thing. Now, this also makes a very fat sounding cabinet. Everything is very aggressive, you know? You really feel the air moving at your feet. Now, what we start with is a JBL D140F. The D140 was a speaker that came out, I think, around the middle 60s, probably 64, 65, but I may be wrong in that. Just go online and check it. And it was a speaker that was based on the structure of the D130, but was allowing 150 watts, apparently, so better rated for bass guitar use if you wanted. So at the time, this was a very good configuration for a bass. Remember that there was not really a bass as we mean it today in the middle of the 60s, until the middle of the 60s. So this was helping projecting very well the sound of a bass guitar if you were playing with a precision or a jazz bass, for example. So the D140 applied to the guitar is a very interesting speaker because it's a speaker that is cut. The top end is cut quite a lot, and obviously it muffles the sound of the guitar. Even with guitars that are pretty bright, like Jazzmaster or Jaguar, with the 1 meg pot, they are muffled a lot in the high frequencies. This can be good and can be bad. It can be good because it muffles a bit this kind of harsh sounds that sometimes you can get if you use an amplifier that don't have enough headroom or doesn't sound big enough, like the Showman. So what you do, you have to tweak it a bit in the amplifier. I'm connecting to the Showman, but I will let you listen also with the Quilter, to make it sound right. Now, if I use my normal configuration of the amplifier on the Showman, which is about what I'm trying to recreate on my Quilter Tone Block 202, is about I have the volume at 5, the treble at 7, the bass between 3, 3.5. Kind of push that more because the Showman gets very bassy, and when I'm in a live situation, I would overlap the frequencies of the bass guitar. And the presence, which in this case and with the speaker is extremely important, set at 7. So if I go like this, obviously everything changes when I go to from the double pickup configuration of the Jazzmaster to the bridge pickup only, you know, and I'll let you listen both things. So it sounds all right, but I assure you that when you're in a live situation, you're gonna miss that little tiny bit of presence that help you to stand out and cut through the mix. So you can obviously push the presence at 10 to balance that out, still on the JBL D140F. It is quite better, but still you feel the sound is weird. It's very mellow in some frequencies. I don't know, it's difficult to get it on camera, but I assure you that when you're in a live situation, you feel after a while, when your ear gets tired, when your hand gets tired, you feel that it's not exactly the best speaker for guitar. It's fantastic on recording. On recording, this thing is amazing because it really sounds big, it really sounds full. You can really feel the aluminum dome in the middle of the speaker, which is a great thing, and you can really use the speaker at its best. Now let me let you listen to this thing. Same thing I'm doing, so changing between the two pickups configuration to the bridge pickup of the Jazzmaster, but with the Quilter. Trying to explain you also the sound and the settings that I'm using on my Quilter tone block, and you will see the difference, if possible, through the microphone of the camera. Sorry if the quality is not top notch, but trying to do my best here. I'm not a pro video maker, but you will gonna have fun about this. Let me switch the amplifiers. Here I'm back. I have now swapped the Showman head with the Quilter Tone Block 202 head. So I have the volume set at about 70-80 watts, with the gain at about 2 o'clock, limiter about 2 o'clock. This is the setting that I'm normally using because this tends to emulate pretty well the blossom point of the gain stage of the amplifier. It's still not as the Showman. You will hear that the sustain of the reverb is a bit longer, and this is due to the compression applied by the limiter function. The bass is cut, is at 9 o'clock, so it's cut a little bit, and the mid and trebles are flat. This is normally my configuration. Reverb is at 0, and I told you about the volume. So, important thing, the voicing on the tone block is set to full Q. You know, you have 3 kind of voicing on this head made by Quilter, which is absolutely phenomenal. And remember that this is more powerful than the Showman, so it's 200 watts on solid state. So realistically, even if the speaker is 150, but if I keep this head at full headroom, 200 watts, I will end up blowing up the speaker. This is why I composed the song called Coil Burner. That is my record, World Traveler, because this is what happened in a show in Vegas. I blew the speaker because I kept the headroom too high. My mistake, my fault. Anyway, the voicing, the 2 interesting voicing are the full Q, which to me, having the experience with this amplifier, is sort of like a brown face configuration, and the vintage voicing, which emphasizes a little bit the mid and the trebles, giving you a sort of a more sparkling, more black face kind of sound. I like them both, but it depends on the speaker and the cabinet I'm using. So let's get back. We're still on the JBL D140F, and this is the same thing that I've done before, but with the Quilter. It already sounds a little bit brighter because of the way the head works, and is way more precise than the Showman. Of course, there's a control of the mid frequencies, but also is tighter in the bass frequencies. Still, I have the same kind of feeling that this speaker is not the right one for the guitar. It's still mellow on the mid frequencies, and it's not that sparkly. So let me try to put it on the vintage voicing, the Quilter, and I'll try to get a little bit more crispy sound on the mid-high frequencies. Just do this and get back to do the same thing as before. So it definitely achieves that thing. So the sound gets a little crispier and brighter. And on a normal, on a different kind of speaker, I would not use this configuration because this would be too crispy, too harsh sometimes. And I feel it quite, I cannot explain very well, quite fake. It's not a matter of the amplifier, it's a matter of the combination between the speaker and the amplifier. It's good to mention also that this, in this case, is a perfect impedance match because the JBL D140 is an 8-ohm speaker here, and measure that because you remember that JBL was quite funny with the impedance of their speakers, but this is an 8-ohm. And obviously the output that I set up from the tone block is an 8-ohm. While with the Showman, my Showman is a 4-ohm, so obviously there was a little impedance mismatch, but it doesn't really matter. So it is crispier, it is nice, it sounds good. The harsh frequencies are corrected by the fact that the JBL D140 cuts naturally those high frequencies, and it sounds a bit better. It moves a lot of air, that's for sure. But I'm not the happiest. Now, in another video, I have done some tests while comparing this cabinet, as you see it now, so with the JBL D140F, and then I compare my 215 1963 JBL D130 cabinet, which remains my #1, although those speakers are a bit down in the power. They got some water, unfortunately, the flood of Livorno in 2017. They've been dry, they've been serving me very, very well, but I feel them, then I need something that can achieve a bit more headroom. Remember that the D130 is about 35 watts, they say, so it's not really a powerful speaker. It's the legend for surf guitar and hi-fi, and probably the most legendary speaker ever done, but still, it's not the most powerful speaker. But it's good. I mean, Dick Dale was playing with that with no problem, as you know. And then I tested in that video that you can still find around my 212 cabinet, which is a mid-90s Tone Master cabinet, loaded with two Commonwealth 12-inch speakers. The Commonwealth is a ceramic speaker that is now out of production, produced by Eminence, and those speakers were rated 225 watts each. So together is a cabinet that can pick up to 450 watts, and that thing, driven with a Showman or with a Quilter, I can tell that is phenomenal. And they say that the 12 is the perfect speaker for the guitar. I'm not sure, I don't know, I think it's a matter of taste. I'm still liking more the 15, but I have to say that that cabinet, when I'm using it, I really have a lot of fun. But now, so the point of today is trying to replace the speaker, as I said in the beginning, in my tone ring cabinet. And I'm gonna tell you in a second what I'm gonna replace it with, because this is something that I've been waiting to do for a long time and is absolutely amazing. Give me a second. All right, here I am. What I have here is an Eminence Quilter Steelaire speaker. Now, this speaker is a neodymium speaker, as you see, very light. It's probably 5-6 kilos. And it's inheriting part of its technology from another speaker that Eminence have produced for a few years. Now I think is discontinued, hard to find, but a great speaker that I know very well because I've been using it for years. The EPS 15C. Now, Quilter make it very clear on their website that the two things have nothing to do with each other. I think, personally, trying them, that is not completely right into the feel that I have from the speaker, apart from the technicality of it. The EPS is a 300-watt speaker. 300. Can you believe that? 300, like this one. So with this thing, you can play guitar, you can play the bass, you can play everything through this. Both guitar speaker, not bass speaker, not PA speaker, these are actually guitar speakers. So not many people use this kind of power on guitar. The EPS 15C, it's very muddy, it's very closed. So exactly like the JBL D140, this is why I like to do this comparison. I'm excited to try this because I think that the EPS 15C is more similar to the D140, while this one I expect it to be more similar to the D130F. So the EPS 15C is dark. You have to push the high frequencies a bit more to achieve that crispy sound. It's very powerful. It sounds phenomenal. I have it on a small cabinet, a small closed cabinet. The one that I've been using here many years now, I have it on the East Coast. And it's really fun to play. It extends nicely the sustain of the reverb, and the sound is very full all over the room. A good headroom. You really can use that speaker. But when I got from Quilter my Block Dock 15 cabinet last June, with which I've been touring 3 times now, I was blown away. Now it took me 5 or 6 shows to breaking in this speaker, because being 300 watts with an aluminum dome, it gets a while to really tighten that sound and get it a bit darker, because initially it was cold and crispy, as I was expecting it to be. But when it breaks in, this is just pure joy, because it takes all the good things that I like of the EPS 15C Eminence and the power and the headroom, but it makes it brighter. It brings it up to life with the Block Dock 15 cabinet that I'm using always in conjunction with my Tone Block 202. I'm really happy. And I know a lot of you, after seeing me, I read comments around, decided to buy that configuration, so the Tone Block 202 and the Block Dock 15, because they really sound good, especially for surf music. So the point for me was, I want to get one of these, and I want to put it in my tone ring cabinet, because obviously this tone ring cabinet is a big ass cabinet, is empty inside, it has the tone ring, so this should be almost sounding double than what it sounds in the Block Dock cabinet, because the room where this has to work, the hair that has to move is much more. The projection will be incredible because of the tone ring. So, but this is a brighter amplifier. This sounds like putting a super extra powerful JBL D130F, 300 watts JBL, much lighter than the JBL, into this beast. So what I have to do now, you heard the JBL D140, we got it on tape, SA, which is not a tape anymore, is a digital recording, but let's call it a tape. And let's see how it sounds. So I'm gonna do this operation, and I will get back to you with the replaced speaker in the cabinet. See you in a while. Hey guys, I've almost finished setting up the new speaker in the cabinet. So just to show you how the structure of this is done, as you see, there's the ring, the double baffle, and the speaker that go inside. So the sound actually goes through this opening that is all around here in front of a cabinet, in front of a baffle, and allows the air to get out, and together with the size and the volume of the room here inside the cabinet, it just projects the bass frequencies out. So this is simply how it works. As you see, there are some openings at the back here to allow the air to come out. So it's a very interesting structure, the tone ring. So let's finish closing this and let's see what we get. Here I'm back, Surfer Joe. So the work is done. The speaker is replaced in the tone ring cabinet. As you see, the look of it is exactly the same, because even the Eminence Quilter Steelaire speaker has the aluminum dome, so it looks the same. And there is a perfect matching now, because the Quilter Steelaire is a 4-ohm speaker, differently, as I said before, from the JBL D140 that is an 8-ohm. So now we have matching with my head, which is an 8. You know, the first time I asked Pat Quilter regarding this speaker, and in comparison with the EPS, the first thing he told me was that the EPS 15C was like this. And then what we've done with Quilter, we have done this. So we went from this to this. So they opened the coil. And I have to tell you that after trying it, as I was saying, in 3 tours, it actually sounds like that. Now, it's the time to plug in the guitar. The Showman is warmed up again. Let's see if it works. All right, The configuration of the Showman is the same as my usual settings. So volume at 5, treble at 7, the bass is about 3.5, and the presence no more than 7. Same thing. Whoa, this is impressive. Now, this thing, I guess we found the new number one. My number one was a 215 JBL D130, not F. Then my 212 Commonwealth, and there was the JBL D140. No, we changed everything now. This is becoming my number one speaker. This thing is absolutely, it just changes what I didn't like about the JBL D140, and it comes out the magic, although the speaker is still brand new. So we're talking about a speaker that is cold and bright and everything, all right? But still driven by my Showman. So you have the impression that it's moving the air, but it's much brighter, you see? You cannot hear very well here in the camera, but it's definitely brighter. So I'm expecting that this, after a few shows, is gonna get a little bit darker and a bit fuller in the sound. But man, this is absolutely amazing. I'm super stoked. It's time to change from the Showman to the Quilter Tone Block 202, and we see what kind of effect we have. Remember that with this speaker, I can keep the tone block at full headroom of 200 watts if I want, right? But before doing this, let me just change one thing. Let me put the presence at 10, and let's see if it gets really too bright. This is the same thing that I've done before with the D140, you know, to correct the fact that the speaker was not too bright. Well, it is trebly, but it is not killing. I'm expecting this note to drop a little bit and become more melodic in a while, but really cool. Even with the presence at 10, but I like it more with the presence a bit closer. But we'll see how that developed with the breaking in of the speaker in the next few shows and see. Let's move to the Quilter. Here we go, I'm back with the Quilter, obviously from the 4-ohm output, tone block 202. Remember, you have the 4-ohm and the 8-ohm at the back. So, and I remind you that the new speaker is 4-ohm. So I roll it back, pull it, the voicing is full Q. It's not vintage, so it's more brown phase. And the sustain again is gonna be a bit longer because that's the effect of over compressing in the gain stage using the limiter. Still, the master volume is about 70, 80 watts. Let's see. This is starting being interesting. This is really, I'm telling you, being here in front of this thing, this is really good. Now let's try to change the voicing to the vintage configuration in my Quilter, where it is, the Quilter, which again is like putting the bright switch, it's just like going on a breakfast amplifier. So I can already feel it that it's a bit more sparkling, probably even too much. Definitely more sparkling. I prefer a fuller configuration, although this will be useful in a situation in which the sound is not too good, the club or whatever it is, and you need that little bit more of sparkling sound. But it could be a bit too bright to me, but it's just a matter of taste. We're not in a situation in which, it make your ears bleed. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about a silver face amplifier or whatever it is with a Fender tank reissue in front. We're still talking about something that is very usable. But now, before closing the video and thanking you for watching this crazy shit that I've done today, let's do one final test. I'm gonna put it in full Q equalization, but we're gonna put the headroom at 200 watts on the Quilter. So we're using the Quilter amplifier and the speaker at the maximum that they can handle. Remember that this speaker is 300 watts, so you can do whatever you want with that. Let's try it right now. All right. So this is a 200 watts configuration with a Quilter Eminence Steelaire speaker in a Tone Ring Fender cabinet, 1963. Time to close, finish this video. Thank you for watching. As again, this crazy shit, I like the gear videos because it's a lot of fun, and this is something that I really wanted to do for a long time. What to say? I love Quilter, I love Fender. Obviously, I'm endorsed by Quilter. I'm using their stuff a lot. I've been trying it all over since the original Tone Block, then to the Pro Block, then now the Tone Block since 2 or 3 years, and now I have the chance to being a user of the Steelaire speaker with their cabinet, so the Block Dog 15, and now the same speaker in my Tone Ring. This is the way to go. Now, if you have the chance to put your hand on one of these speakers, I really recommend you to get it, because this is impressive. This is really impressive. It's not just because, I cannot afford to buy a JBL or I want to buy these. No, I will just, get that because I cannot get anything else. No. We're talking about a choice of buying this speaker because it is really good. I mean, this is a good thing. It's a game changer because it is sounding like the D130F JBL, but in 2023. So it's something that handles the power, that give you more volume on stage, give you more headroom, give you more possibilities. It reacts fantastic with effects and everything. So it's just a go. Go. Steelaire 15 speaker from Quilter. Check on the website quilterlabs.com. Now, thank you very much. Put a like on this video, obviously, as the kids say, the YouTuber, the influencers say, put a like on this video. And very important, subscribe to the Surfer Joe newsletter that you can reach at surfmusic.net. surfmusic.net/newsletter, surfmusic.net, my website, /newsletter. It's free. We don't bother you with commercials and crazy shit, but we send you some updates about our show. Very soon, I will tell you about my upcoming tour of July in Europe. Part of that, half of that is gonna be together with the great Greasy Gills from San Francisco. And don't forget, Surfer Joe Summer Festival, 22 to 25th of June, the greatest, the biggest, the most awaited, the most prestigious surf music event in the planet since 2003. So stay stoked. Surfer Joe here. We'll see you next time with coolest shit to try.